Let's get it.
Is the face in the misty light.
Alright, so you should be able to hear us now. You can hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I switched speaker. That's all.
Alright, just making sure. Alright, so you can hear us. Make sure, we can hear you and whatnot. Do you consent? Like, usually I do this a lot, like where everyone, get like documented consent and whatnot of like you being in here and me using this as record and whatnot. And
Absolutely.
all right, yeah, because like now we gotta be on like extra security because like we've been warned with Kunta J and friends, and now this then spanned out to like include Thought Slime and crew, so it's like it's just turning into like a big messy situation. And then like just recently, like I shared the link. I shared the link to I shared the link. Why is Discord slowing for me? Like, what's going on? But like just recently, I shared the link. Yeah, I don't know why the app acting like. I don't know why it's acting like this for me. But like just recently, like I shared the link to I shared the link to Twitter, and I made our server publicly available on another platform. So to me, like when you swooped in on something, it just like it made me think like, okay, like what's really going on? Like, did she just like jump in from the link? Hold on.
Okay.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know why I say I'm disconnected. It does that every so often now. I don't know why. It keep doing that. Like I got my suspicions, but everybody think I'm a conspiracy theory, but theorist. But anti-blackness is a conspiracy theory according to some. So like,
if you've been getting raided and you've been dealing with people being awful, I would not be surprised if every time your career lags out, you're half expecting it to be a DDoS or some shit.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Like that was my angle. My angle was I'm not saying that person directly put a hit out on me or something, but it's like a large following and a large fan base, and you got access to 7,000 people, and you got hundreds and hundreds of people like descending on us from multiple platforms arguing with us. Then like to me and from my perspective, it don't seem like a stretch that somebody might do it for their own abolition, because you got people like, yeah, we're gonna report you, look through his tweets and find something that you could report, we're gonna go through his entire platform and basically like trying to find ways to like adamantly deplatform and like and destroy like our space, you know what I mean? So like to me it's like it's not a stretch that somebody might take it to the extreme and actually go forward and
Sure.
They're
removal space.
gaslighting though.
Hold
They
on, but
like the gas.
I got a question. You agreed to being documented, right? You
Yeah.
agreed to the consent.
Whatever.
All right. Yeah, I just had to make sure. But you can say your name if you want to, like, cause I know your name on here is like for Nils. But like, is there a particular name wants to call you?
Can I change my nickname on here? Is that true?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, you should be able to. You can't change it on your own.
All right. My girlfriend's upstairs. One second.
I mean, if you like, I give you a different name. What name would you like for me to make it?
I got it. I think the nickname thing worked.
All right,
Not
Talie.
me, Def. Yep.
All right, cool. Nice to meet you, Talie. It is nice to meet you. It's just that I know you might you just came at a very hectic time. Usually we don't even record a lot of our interviews unless it's with somebody from like Destiny or Vosh Space. But like due to us like now like literally on the weird war or weird like fucking war like global conflict with like all of the left, it's like yeah now we just document everything now. But I heard Professor I heard Proud Communist put you onto our space.
Yeah. I was asking her about theory that wasn't focused on a bunch of white dudes in Europe being like, well, the world's bad, but we're not going to talk about why other than money.
Exactly. That's what's up. Like, you ever like Googled or looked up any like Afrocentric books or any Afrocentric books that you're like really familiar with or anything like that?
I haven't. I'm not very theoried.
Mhm.
I came to leftism mostly through personal experience and some like guidance, or as how in that regard, description of what it is.
I mean, it's all good. Like typically, like it's kind of something like that for us, even though it's a lived experience for us. Like a lot of us, we just use Google and Wikipedia, like look up information, look up different stuff. It's not typically hard for us to find out like certain information. So like like for us, we look up like Black Panther books or look up into CRT, identity politics. Like concepts that we hear about or concepts that like kind of brush past when we watch videos talking about these things. We do our own like deep dive research into it, and that's how we usually come to like a lot of the conclusions that we have and the understandings and that we know, because like we kind of like like track a lot of information and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when it was one of the situations where I was already in a few different communities with this, and I was like, probably not ideal to use people's Google. I wasn't trying to do that. I was just like, what do I search to find the things? I don't want to go in this and find shit that's counter to.
Oh, I mean, like, well, I'll tell you what I do. Like, when I'm looking up, like, some Afrocentric, it could be as simple as, like, looking into Martin Luther King, looking for books that's written about or by Martin Luther King himself. Typically look for, like, black authors if you have to. What I do is I'll look into the authors, see what their career is like, what kind of books they have written, see if this is see how the book was received by other members within the black community, right? Like, see if it holds water, right, in comparison to like, because it's easy to tell if something's whitewashed. Like if something's whitewashed, usually they make like a very strenuous claim and be like, yeah, Martin Luther King was like a pacifist and he only wanted this, or they be like Malcolm X, and it's kind of easy to tell. And even if you can't tell, usually there's a black person like that you would either hear saying that certain narratives is full of shit, or certain narratives are inconclusive about certain historical people and whatnot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, those were probably pretty obvious steps I could have taken in that regard.
I mean, it's all good. I mean, we ain't like we're gonna hold it to you like, oh yeah, because sometimes it takes like a lot of people are not well refined and stuff like this and whatnot, and ain't like our country really prioritize making sure like the everyday people within this country understands and like know how to operate online, because like from what we know based on our interactions with a lot of people, like a lot of people don't know how to do like a lot of basic like research. And not to say I'm like the best well researched person, because I go to Scorpio or other people looking for like how and see if it's a credible argument, or see if it's a first source. I think is what's it called? If it's a direct source or is a first source or something like that, right? Like sometimes, like with certain things, I go to certain people to get help. But like my thing is like a lot of people in this space don't even use like a lot of analysis. So like in like the lived experience, not to say it's invalid, but it's dubious at best because it's very colloquial in the usage of determined like political terms and whatnot. And a lot of people don't understand is that like there's not wrong with using a term on a colloquial level, but it kind of like asserts a different meaning than the actual political term. And then what it does is it removes it from its context. So like a lot of people say a lot of words like and these words kind of lose meaning. Like for example, woke is a word that lost its meaning. Like hotep is a word that is losing its meaning and is being ascribed a new meaning. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of like words like even like virtue signaling and bad faith and ad hominem and these are words that people are saying, but they say it just to say it in many respects. And when you look at the context of the conversation, a lot of this stuff don't add up, and I think this is like kind of the problem. But that comes when when people are trying to capitalize on political content, like content that like talks about social political issues. Like when people capitalize on this space and create these followings, it kind of leads to the watering down and liberalization of these concepts, especially when it comes from black people. This is like a big part of me and Scorpios in my criticism of these spaces, is specifically like the Eurocentric left, is that like through white identity, the combination of white identity politics, capitalism, and basic appropriation, a lot of black people are basically being alienated and actively attacked on the daily within these communities. And it's only and mainly due to the fact that like we're dealing with Eurocentric people or white people, if you want to put it in a colloquial fashion. But I don't like saying the white left or like white people, because it does not accurately depicts what's going on an intimate level. That's why I say Eurocentric left, because when I call it the Eurocentric left, it speaks to all of the BIPOC, if you want to call it, or black and other marginalized groups that kind of engages with this, right? Because you find a lot of people, rather they're how their identities intersect. We live in a largely white hegemonic world, a white supremacist like environment, and a lot of people play into like those social norms and cues and maintain that status quo. So we can't call these people white. Like we can't invalidate your identity as a black person for choosing to associate with the settlers and our oppressors. So we have to avoid invalidating your identity as a black person, we have to admit that what you're doing is Eurocentric, is playing into whiteness. Rather it's having you having white partners and white friends, but you claim that you're pro-black and you're anti-white, right? Like, or rather it's like you say you are proud that you're a pro-black person, but like on your papers you identify as mixed and biracial, which gives you privileges to the wider society for being acknowledged as something other than black American, something other than just a standard black person. Definitely if you're of a lighter skin complexion, it really adds into your favor, because everyone knows that if you put white on your application, it enables you to get hired. Just having a white sound in the name allows you to get hired. So if you got on your profile, if you got in your information that you're mixed biracial or something like that, it alludes to the fact that you're something other than just a plain black person. But a lot of people don't understand these intimate concepts and understand how it interacts with featureism, texturism, colorism, just general anti-blackness. So we realize that like in many instances, a lot of the conflict that we get into, it's typically with people who don't understand this analysis, or they do understand the analysis, but it's in a very abstract way. So, you would tell people about what they're doing wrong, and they will admit, like, well, I do acknowledge my privilege. And it's like, well, okay, you acknowledge your privilege, but the reality is, like, you still are privileged, and you still are perpetuating things that enables you to be privileged. So anybody can acknowledge that they're a privileged person, right? Like, I'm privileged in a lot of other, trans people and a lot of other queer people. Because if I really want to, it might not make me feel good about myself, but if I wanted to, I can probably pass as a cis hetero male, right? So that allows me to get access to things that most people won't, allow me to, and I can acknowledge that that's a privilege of mine. But like, what really makes you like, to me, what really makes you acknowledge your privilege is to be able to like disseminate that, to challenge people that are in those spaces. So even if to some people I could pass as a cis hetero black male, like, why not use that to my advantage to challenge people in the way they think? Tell people like, no, don't say shit like that. Stop talking to people like that. Like, nah, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, challenge people
Yeah,
on when they wrong on what they do, or like be able to recognize like the
absolutely.
nuances of these topics and discussions. But we realize people don't understand it, and it comes like that definitely when it comes to white people who intersects with marginal identities. People always come with this like the conclusion like, oh, you're attacking this person because of their marginal identity, and it's never like that. Like, that's the whole basis of the Kunta
Man,
J. Because
excuse
I know I
me.
sent you the tweet. I know I sent you that tweet that was like a summary, but like I can tell you, like, it goes like the discussion goes on way long because this is like a 4 day discussion, and to be honest, it's all full of like big misunderstandings, and now it's general anti-blackness. So I don't think of it as a misunderstanding anymore, because we tried to reach
Mhm.
out and explain things to everyone. We tried to reach out and like clarify
Mhm.
things and open up a platform. Open up a platform to have a discussion, and like that was like kind
I
of negated.
I do apologize. Can I?
Hmm. Yeah, you can say something. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I wanna mute for a second. I wanna see if I can check on my girlfriend. I hope she's
All
okay.
right. Yeah, just let me know.
Can
Just yeah, just let me know when you come back
I'll be
on.
back in like 30 seconds probably.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to double. I want to check in.
Yeah, it's all
I'll
good. Go
have my
ahead.
phone with me. I'll just be muted, deafened for a second.
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
So Bantu,
Mm-hmm.
um, just to avoid all bullshit, can you just like ask about? Because I was gonna ask myself. I'm getting text right now. I'm texting back at somebody, but just ask about like this, this white Jew stuff. Because I'm just tired of people coming in and then they just have all this shit. So motherfuckers
I
might
mean,
Hey,
what?
leaving
my
Like,
apologies. I'm back.
as huh?
the back.
I'm back. My apologies.
All right. I mean, you can ask her. Ask her, Scorpio. I mean,
Okay. So how do I say your name, Talie? Is that how you say it?
Apologies, correct.
Okay. So how do you feel about the European Jews?
Seeing as my father's side had most of the family disappear in the Holocaust. They're very important part of the
So you
community.
have some white Jewish ancestry, right?
Yeah, Ashkenazi
Okay.
Jewish.
So do you know that we criticize white European Jews, correct?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Because like it's very common. I've seen people switch up very, very quickly and switch up what they said and claim what they believed or whatever, or typically you know,
I
hide
have no
stuff in their minds
problem.
or whatever. But this is
Promise you.
experience basically.
Okay. Um.
It's like the criticism too is
Uh,
really more about ownership and white privilege and
yeah.
simulating the whiteness, etc., etc. And
No one should be free from criticism when
that's
there's living.
typically that's typically like the critiques.
Yeah.
So,
No. That's fine.
but I mean, okay.
No one should be
I
free
mean,
from criticism.
it's not something that is talked about often. It's just that that's what's really going on a lot right now, and I'm
Yep.
just not trying to deal with all that.
Yeah. I'm. If anything, keep. I'll put it this way. I am free Palestine. That's
pretty much.
what it's
Like,
coming
I ain't
to.
gonna hold you though. Like, I agree with what you say. Like, free Palestine, right? But like, the thing is, see, this is where people get caught up at, right? Because like right now we're at a time where like Palestine is getting more visibility more than ever, which is important, right? But a lot of people don't understand like the history of black people, right? Like black American history specifically. Like people don't understand how, like, as Ren would say, like the world is innately anti-black American, right? So a lot of people don't understand that, like when black people criticize like European, Ashkenazi, white Jewish people, right? People of white settler Jewish descent, right? A lot of these people, have been engaged in anti-blackness for a very long time. Whether it's about, the anti-blackness that goes on with Palestine, whether it's about the anti-blackness that goes on within their own country towards, darker skin and, black Jewish people, whether it's, the anti-blackness that occurs here in America or, that occurred in
South America as well, in Brazil.
In the Caribbean. Right. So, like the history of anti-blackness and white Jewish people is very long and very, all enduring. Now, a lot of people might say, well, why are you specifically highlighting the fact that they're, white Jewish people? And it's like, well, the thing is, when whiteness intersects with marginal identity, a lot of people get tripped up when it comes to identity politics, because people think that, like, I think people, and this is, and to me, it shows where people analysis fails. People analysis tend to put race, they put marginal identities before the race. But the reality is, you have to put race first. Like, that's how I look at it. If you put race first with your analysis, it gives you more of an insight on who, what, when, where, why. Because you can say, well, queer women are oppressed. Yes, that's true. But when you really when you take into account for race, that's not all that clear across the board, because white queer people are way more privileged than black queer people and other minorities. And you get what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like what we're criticizing and what we're talking about is no different than talking about like white disabled people, white queer and trans people, right? Like, to me, it's no different than doing that. But because the identity that is intersecting with whiteness is Jewishness, people automatically put the Jewishness before the race. So to me, it's kind of Eurocentric and innately white supremacist, because it conflates the idea that Jewish people are innately white when they're not. Like, if you understand Semitism, if you understand the history of Jewish people, these people are all not white. Like, all Jewish people are not white, and it's very anti-black to even assume so and play into. So to me, when we're saying specifically white Jewish people and we're calling out the anti-blackness that they have engaged in and things that they have done, to me, it's very disingenuous when people are just saying, well, y'all anti-black because of this. Well, you could say this better, you could say that better, but it's like everything that we're saying is not in a bad light. And then, like, we know your analysis is broken because you're applying analysis for far-right white identity politics to literal black people. And if you want to apply reactionary black identity politics analysis to us, you're entitled to do that. But it seems like you're even lacking when it comes to understanding reactionary black identity politics. And to me, I feel like this is something else that a lot of people are not really familiar with their criticism of black people, is that people try to criticize a lot of black people within spaces in the Eurocentric left for being a reactionary, engaging in reactionary black identity politics. But the reality is, I don't even think people actually understand the history or the legacy and the nuances of these reactionary people that are, like a part of black identity, who push black identity politics. So to me, it's like, there's a lot of different layers of intersectionality, a lot of different layers of identity and thought that is going on that people are trying to have a discussion about only through a 250 character limit in threads that they don't even spend the time to look into, because they're too busy wanting to chat about their friends. They too busy wanting to dogpile on some other leftists. So now we're left in this long, stretched out conversation about these concepts that the reality is not profitable. And the reason why I say it's not profitable is because no one in this space is qualified. They don't have the know-how to even have these conversations. And the reason why I say that is because you see this, like, whether it's Thought Slime space, whether it's Ico and all of them in that space, whether it's the Destiny and Vosh crew, whether it's the Kunta J and Chantilly and all of them, all K Swiftly and all of them, they do not innately understand how these concepts intersect, how these concepts work. So instead of stating that they don't know and try to learn about it so they can make a stand or whatnot, they choose not to take a stand, and then they allow a bunch of people to pile on to J100 and deplatform them. So since we're the only ones who do understand and educated ourselves on these subjects, we defend J100. But people call us anti-Semitic because they think criticizing white Jews for being white supremacists is anti-Semitic, and that's anti-black, because criticizing whiteness is not anti-Semitic just because it intersects with Jewishness. No, put the race before the actual other identity of being Jewish, right? To me, Jewishness is, at this point in time, you can say it's an ethnicity, right? So me, I'm a black person as far as my race goes, but ethnically speaking, I am a black American, right? Like Scorpio is a Jamaican American. We are ethnically different, but we share the same race. So we have two totally different histories and different stories of oppression, despite we intersect as Americans. And a lot of people forget that, when you're dealing with white Jewish people, white Jewish people and white Italians and white Irish people have different stories and engagements in anti-blackness, but we highlight each and every specific one. You wouldn't call me anti-Irish or anti-Italian for talking about the things the mafia have done, the mob has done, for talking about how Irish people perpetuated anti-blackness through unions and through work relations and them actually lynching our communities, right? You wouldn't call us anti-Irish and anti-Italian for highlighting that. But when it comes to Jewish people, we're anti-Semitic. And we understand why, because there has been a history of white identity politics that has been pushing hate. But the fact that y'all apply the idea that black people are easily innately susceptible to white identity politics on that level goes to show that y'all understanding of black identity politics is lacking, which is telling when most people don't understand Afrocentrism, when most people don't understand black nationalism, when people don't understand Pan-Africanism, when people don't talk about the Haitian Revolution, when people don't talk about John Henry Clark, when people don't talk about pivotal black leaders like CRT isn't even a discussion. You could go for example, you could go and watch Thoughts Line video on CRT and come away not really learning anything, but Republicans talking shit about it is bad. But why is it bad? How is it bad? What is it about the analysis of this work that makes them react as if it's bad? You know what I mean? These are the questions that are not being answered. So it's like a lackluster movie. It seems good because of the visuals and the aesthetics, but it's really lacking. It's like Cyberpunk. It's good visually, but as far as the substance, it's not always there. You know what I mean? But I feel like this is always a reoccurring conversation, because you see this sometimes with white people when it comes to white women, and you find what was it? What was that? Schoenhead said black men are oppressors of white women or some dumb shit like that, and she got slandered. And you find that with white queers when people are criticizing white gays, when people say white gay men are the worst or something like that, and everybody oh, why are you oppressing this? This is homophobia. And it's no, y'all are white gay. Let's emphasize on the fact that y'all are white and queer. So the fact that y'all are white elevates y'all over other queer people, because this is how white supremacy is set up due to privilege. So it's the more whiter you are, the more privileged you are in society. And white gay men historically have been engaging in anti-blackness and other forms of oppression, to the point that you find a lot of white gay men figureheads of the Republican Party amongst other alt-right anti-SJW spaces. And that's not even talking about covert anti-blackness within leftist spaces, right? So to me, I feel like a hit dog will only holler, and unfortunately we're seeing the bulk of the left hollering from these discussions, hollering from these topics that's being brought up, which let us really know that they're not even when it comes to blackness, everything is abstract to them. They support black people, but when black people are expressing their thought and theories, they don't understand, because the reality is the shade is if these discussions was in an Afrocentric black dominated space, no one would debate what we're talking about. No one would sit there and disagree what we're talking about. No one would try to frame what we're saying in a like generous light, because all black people in the Afrocentric space who reads into this like black theory understands that, like, they understand that like whiteness is like a part of privilege, and most white people who intersect with marginal identities are not like, they're not like absolved of white supremacy and anti-blackness, and they deserve to be called out no different than white cis hetero males, because they hold a share of power in society that makes them disproportionate, disproportionate to other marginal identities within that said, community. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't mean to kind of go on like that, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot, and it seems like it's only been getting
Hmm.
worse. And like, there's like no silver lining throughout all of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
So it's
really
like,
scary. It's really scary watching people just pick and choose who they think are human enough to pass through.
yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is, but like, this is like how it's always been. Like, this is why we talk about tokenism and how all the black people within these spaces are tokens, because like a lot of them are only liked because they say things that basically coincide and is like non-hostile to white identity politics. So a lot of these black content creators within these spaces are elevated for not shaking the table is effectively. Like, effectively, they don't shake the table. They don't say nothing that's truly revolutionary, because if they did, if they was, like, a lot of people in these spaces will be trying to oust them from the said community. And the reality is, it's a way that
It's
white
weird.
people are protecting themselves. Like, it's a way of
It's
white people
really weird.
protecting themselves from criticism, right? Like, to me, like, the way I look at it is like, just like if a black person is criticizing a white trans person or a white disabled person, like a black cis hetero male able, a black cis able black cis hetero male was criticizing like a black, I mean a black able cis hetero male was criticizing a white disabled person for their anti-blackness. I'm not going to hop in and be like, well, he's disabled, and because he don't know. He
Yeah,
need to
that's
know
really
better,
confusing.
because there's little kids, there's black cis able kids that have to learn about anti-blackness at an early age. So whether you're disabled, whether you're too young, there's no parameter of like that should prevent you from learning
Hmm.
and understanding these concepts as well, because like regardless of what, is like Cat Black said, like we have to be black 24/7, 365 days of a year. We don't get to take our blackness off. We don't get to pass as white people. The most we can do is assimilate into whiteness through like pacifying who we are and what we're about. But in a way that kind of like projects the erasure of our culture. And me being a black nationalist, I'm not for that. I'm not
You,
for erasing who I am
you shouldn't
and
have
like my
to do that.
identity.
Can we emphasize
That's
that it's
horrifying.
popular to hate white people? So like that's why like white people love when you shit on white people. Like as funny as it sounds, many white people take a lot of a lot of gratification into shitting on other white people because it makes them feel like they're the good ones, and that's what many black people on these platforms play into. As when a white person is watching you shit on white people, they are thinking like, oh yeah, they shit on those white people, they're the white supremacists, I'm the good one. And that's why white people be criticizing other
Yeah.
white people, because it makes them feel like they're progressive, like they're doing something. But all you're doing is just basically self-serving yourself. Like you're making yourself feel good. You're not
Mm,
actually dismantling the
mm,
system. Like you're white, you benefit from white privilege, you benefit from white supremacy. You're not doing
I
anything
think
to dismantle the system. So it's like all you're doing is just saying fuck white people. Doesn't really do anything, you know. Like black books and what people have written about actually are trying to provide solutions into how we can actually confront this stuff. And like many white people don't even know what's going on, and all they just do is play into what's socially acceptable and popular, and it's just show it's very performative and it's not sincere. So
yeah. Yeah, that's a serious problem. I guess that's the reason why I come at things with, if you think you've already learned enough, then you haven't. You have to always evolve, and you always have to be growing as a person. That way you start treating people
you're gonna
differently.
discover since you're new, you're gonna discover a lot of things are performative, but that's if you realize that. I mean, I realized a lot of things performative, and personally, I don't really have high hopes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I think a lot of people don't know that like a lot of people don't know this because like it's private, is in our Discord, but like we've been purging our community for a very long time of like a lot of people. So like when you see us falling out with certain spaces and places, it's not like I just like we just randomly pick them to like argue and fight with. Like you will see when you watch our content, you will see this. But just to say in general, like when you see like a lot of our content, it's not like we found these people and just picked the fight and argument with them. It's like we really interact with these people on a private level, and after interacting with them, we realize that it's always the same tropes, it's always the same behavior, it's always the
Yeah.
same patterns. So like we went from being like, okay, this is innately white space, but everyone's not like this, not all white people, to like, no, yes, all, like Seren said, yes, all white people. Because the way we look at it, and like, well, not white people, but Eurocentric people, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like we had to say yes, all white people, or yes, all Eurocentric people, because it's like, if you look at this whole entire space, it's always the same repetitive behavior. People just shitting on other people, people dunking on other people, people making content that really don't dig deep into the nuances. No one's really elevating non-white people in this space. Everything is prioritizing white identity politics. Everyone's focusing on like the white far right, right? Like everyone's prioritizing converting those who need to be converted versus like boistering and strengthening marginalized communities that are at the bottom, communities that need the most assistance and resources, and prioritizing their political agenda, right? This is not the call to action of this space. And to be honest, when you think about it, this space does not have a call to action. And the only call to action you could say that they had was, their whole fight to end anti-blackness of the Trump era. And Trump is out of office. Biden is in office. He's over his 100 days in office. And a lot of y'all are just shifting to a more center right perspective than how y'all was when y'all was shifting
Oh
to the
God,
left. For
so many
real.
people.
Like we seen, like, and you probably seen this too, like a lot of your favorite, like a lot of leftists is out here now are making worse and worse fucking, and like their analysis is progressively getting worse because now everyone feel like the job was done. It's like the fucking Kamala meme, like we did it, Joe.
Yeah.
And like the
That's
fight's
what it is.
over, anti-blackness is done. But a lot of people are not holding him accountable because I recall a lot of people within this space arguing and yelling like it's harm mitigation. We need to push Biden left, but I don't see none of them on no campaign to push Joe Biden to the left. I don't see none of them on no campaign to push like any of these, political pundits further left. So this is how like even with the call to action in this space is considerably like abstract and removed from like what really is going on politically in this country, what's really going on in these spaces. And you find all of these content creators who get profit, who's getting a lot of attention from outrage culture, who's getting a lot of social, like who built up a lot as far as social commodity goes. You see a lot of these people who are really like building themselves off of this energy, this white identity politics, but they don't really do nothing to help people who are at the bottom. They don't really do nothing to spotlight and really call out anti-blackness, and everything that they're calling out is just the public dumping, is the public dumping grounds, to say colloquially. It's just, these are the easy dunk people. We can easily dunk on Jordan Peterson, PragerU, Richard Spencer, Candace Owens, like it's easy, like, and to me it's like ContraPoint said with shame, it's locales. But like as she said, with shame and locales, right, a lot of this come from insecurities about how you feel about yourself. A lot of this come from how you feel within. So to us, like, we don't
Because
prioritize most of.
because they don't understand that, like, for me, I don't get pride about how better I am than a white person. I get pride how I am
At
about
all.
myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am proud and I embrace who I am and I love who I am. I don't necessarily need to look at Ben Shapiro to make myself love myself. But it seems that for them, they have nothing about themselves that seems to be interesting. So all they want to say is that I'm better than that person. I'm a good person. I'm a good person because I'm better than those people. That's basically how they value themselves, how better they are than others. But I just value myself how I'm as a person, general to myself. So they may not necessarily have the same mindset. That's why if they were that's why people would say stuff to me and all that. Well, I don't really feel anything. Like I feel secure. I feel like I'm sure of myself. okay with myself. Like I look in the mirror and I be like, I like where I am. I like who I am. There's
Yeah.
not. I don't really feel there's an issue. Mainly because like I did the reading, I did the research, I did the education, and I'm and continuing to evolve. And as I continue
Really,
to go, I know I'm gonna become the best person I can be at the end of the day, and at the end of my life.
it's really, really sad that people ever have to feel inherently that they're somehow less
But
valuable.
that's it's like to me it's connected to like white supremacy and capitalism and shit like that. Mainly because white people have always basically made themselves, or they value themselves on how they was better than others. They never really had anything to be proud of their own. So it's like that's why to me I feel like
Kind of
this is connected
intrusive
to like
Romans, we kind of
the
just
whole
take
thing of white
whatever
supremacy.
and then say we're better than her.
It's
It's kind of intrusive to the Romans. We kind of just take shit and say we did it better.
Like, if you ask me, that's what this kind of whole culture is built off of. Like, but like as
yeah.
far as that, we have no problem letting you in here. Like, my thing is like, I will warn you, right? Um, I will warn you of this. Like, we do expect people to be engaged because, like, I found out like there's a lot of like bad faith people that was in here as far as like anti-black motherfuckers, like literal Nazis and right wingers and stuff that be hiding in our space. So
No.
we actively prune our server. So like like I tell you that like once you get in here, make sure you check the announcements. Make sure you check the race. I'm waiting for Proud Communist to respond. Apparently she didn't never respond, but I don't know what the hell she's doing. I know
She
she be
goes
busy
into her
and stuff.
curfew and could screenshot things, cover up her
Yeah,
name and
but
shit.
like once she say something to you and like validates you and whatnot, like you in here, you know what I mean? You in here, and we have a lot of information. This is literally a library slash archive. We collect a lot of like pamphlets and information, data and studies, like things that are freely available online. We collectivize it. So like, cause this space was meant to be a public like service for like all of the leftist community. But as we reached out to leftist communities to let them know what kind of resources we have available to them, like we realized like it was not but pure anti-blackness and like just performative, behavior. And it's very odd because in a lot of these spaces we have to kind of force them to have libraries. We have to force them. Like there's a lot of communities that have books in their server now that really didn't have none or didn't have libraries, but once I came in, I'm like, oh no, you gotta have a library, or they had a library, or it had a place for like books and articles, but like it was empty. You know what I mean? Or it wasn't really that fulfilling. So
Yeah. Oh, do you mind if I ask him? Can I DM you? I can show you the screenshot where go DM me with the.
oh yeah. If you show me the screenshot, then hell yeah, like you in here because. I'm just making sure you're not in here because we sent a link
I don't want
to.
to be. I know how trolls be like. So I came in with this person who exists, and they're like,
Yeah.
then they go and do some fucking awful shit.
Like me personally, like I wouldn't care if I wouldn't care if it was a troll because there's a lot of trolls that made it in here. You know what I mean? But like to be honest, it's just that like we just didn't want to continue this argument. All right, cool, you in here then. Like I just didn't want to continue this argument even further on Twitter because like no lie, we've been arguing on Twitter for about 4 days straight. Like when I tell you we've been arguing for 4 days straight. We've been arguing for 4 days straight, nonstop, and then it's weird because the conversation only continues because they think 3 to 5 black people are trying to cancel them, and it's like we're 3 to 5 black people against like a literal army.
But isn't it interesting? They're thinking we're canceling them, but we never complain about being canceled ourselves. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but on top and to add on to that, right? Like we never talk about us being canceled because we're not worried about that. But like to make shit even worse, like you see that they have large followings. These people got thousands of followers, and like all of their followers, because mind you, they all mutuals with one another. So like Twitter.
And you want to know something, Bantu? Their followers have like 5,000 followers, 4,000. Because I was checking all their followers. They have a lot of followers.
That's what I'm saying.
And they acting like
And they're going and they say shit like this. Well, y'all going down the list and starting arguments with us, and it's like no, like all of y'all are trying to engage with this content. So by all of y'all engaging with it on on Twitter, it makes us like say something back to y'all because this shit is on our timelines. This shit is on our notification feeds. So this is why we're blocking y'all. This is why we're blocking y'all because there's no way in hell we could get rid of this content. There's no way in hell we could avoid this argument when we see 4 or 5 of y'all liking this. We see somebody retweeted this, and then now it's back on our feed again. So now naturally, I'm going to respond to it. We're going to respond to it or say something about it. But they're like, oh, they're targeting all of us and they're attacking all of us to cancel us. And it's like, no, like we called out one person. One person literally made it into a bigger deal. They was wrong, and Kunta J was wrong in the way he framed J100. We said something about that, and then after we said something about that, it literally escalated into this huge argument because all the Kunta J followers got involved, and they followers got involved, and they followers got involved. And like a lot of people don't talk about this, but like this shit literally gotten to the point where there's literally alt-right people coming in on their side of the argument. So we're over here like, wow.
But what they told me? They also told me like, can you delete this? If Vosh sees this, then Vosh uses it against Kunta J. And I was like, wait a second. This man, y'all wasn't saying that for J100 when like literally Kunta J was like, quote tweeting J100 and trying to make him appear malicious. And at the same time too, y'all don't. And I told them they don't even know anything because Vosh has me blocked. Vosh has me blocked. Y'all don't even get this part. So he had me blocked before he even knew Kunta J. That's the funny part. Like y'all wasn't here for this.
Yeah, I'm about to say because like literally a year ago, literally last year we've been documenting and literally like doing analysis on Vosh as a case study to understand the Eurocentric left. So now it's odd that like Kunta J is being someone that everyone elevates for his conflict with Vosh. And it's like, what analysis did you really provide for Vosh? Or did you even check out the fact that we have analysis on Vosh? Like, or is your conversation with Vosh limited to dunking on him? Because Vosh basically highlighted you as one of those woke separatists, right? Like, y'all don't understand, like, the whole woke separatist, Hotep shit, that shit literally comes from the D and Angel debate. Like, y'all are D and Angel babies out here. Like, y'all are doing stuff that, like, niggas already done. Y'all are, like, engaging in content as far as y'all conflict with Vosh that we already done covered. But it's weird that, like y'all are elevated in this space, definitely if it's Kunta J being elevated for his conflict for Vosh, or everyone knows Kunta J because him and Vosh had a big outing like that. And to me, it makes me wonder, well, what kind of support do you have that can elevate you in the space that we don't have when it comes to our conflicts with Vosh?
Yeah.
Is it because you got a large Eurocentric following and we don't? Like, we are Afrocentric people who come from distinct Afrocentric spaces and backgrounds, so we don't prioritize Eurocentric people and being in, like, collusion with them. So when we're conflicting with Vosh, nobody knows about us and what our criticism analysis is, but they know based on y'all. And people who do know about us and our analysis only came to us because they thought we was dunking on Vosh and got upset when we kicked them out and argued with them because we don't tolerate that shit. Like, we're not here to dunk on nobody. This is not no anti-Vosh gang. Sorry. We're not waking up every day to say that we hate Vosh, that we don't like Vosh, and fuck Vosh. There's nothing wrong with saying it. It's cathartic if it's good for therapy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like yelling into the void. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
But, like, at the end of the day, you gotta have analysis just in case these people become bigger than who they are today. Like, white privilege is real. Somebody like Vosh and Destiny and ContraPoints, they could be our mayors. They could be, like, literally seen as voices of reason when it comes to issues that really intersect and deal with blackness. So, like, we have to come up with an analysis and really, like, disseminate what is it that these people are doing that's wrong. What is it that these people are doing that's harming our community, and literally present that as if it's a case study. You got to present that as if it's an essay to let people know this is how white identity politics is utilizing technology to be a force of anti-blackness, and also plays a part in the reason why there's black erasure with these online platforms. And it's weird when we see you're a black person with a large online platform and you neglect the fact of like hearing J100 and his story out. Like you neglect the fact that Scorpio is telling you, like I see you liking my tweets. I see you liking my stuff. You only like my stuff when it's about white people. You don't like all the black people that he support and promote. And the reason why we know that is because that's what me and Scorpio do with our platforms. This is why a lot of white Eurocentric people do not follow us, because everybody that we promote and support is specifically black people from all over the world and America. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think nobody really understands this. Like, I'm kind of upset because I can't even watch intellectuals Twitch streams because of this. You know what I mean? Like, I have to miss out time with supporting black streamers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm missing out time that I could be spending with black streamers, time I could be laughing and keying with black people, you know, in black spaces, not have to worry about the specter and anti-blackness. And it's weird because it's like, now that I blocked all of them off of my Twitter, it's like my whole timeline is free, and all the black cosplayers and animators is back on my timeline again. And now I ain't got to see nobody arguing with no white person. Yeah, it's because, like, this is the crazy part. Like, for the past couple of days I've been getting on Twitter, it's just been them arguing with white people. Them arguing with white people. Them arguing with white people. A bad take from a white person. A bad take from a white person. Like, that's not healthy to see on your time. Yeah, that's not healthy to constantly see on your timeline. Like, it's always bad hot takes from white people. Somebody arguing with a white person. A white person says something wrong to a black person. And it's like, I feel like y'all don't understand why y'all keep encountering this behavior. And I will let you know, it's because y'all are intersecting with a part of the algorithm that's distinctly seeped into white identity politics. Like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X said, the white moderate, the white liberal, or the Eurocentric left is the problem. So the fact that y'all are intersecting with them and is deeply involved in following these figureheads, these actors, right? It brings y'all closer to the bullshit. We don't really deal with bullshit like that because we follow black people, and black people specifically, we support only them and their content. So as a result, we're only dealing with our own people. Nobody else. For real. Now, I know. We're not talking to you. Like, I'm just saying in general. I know you're probably like, damn, who the fuck are you talking to? I ain't talking to you though. Like, I appreciate you for having the emotional intelligence. But like as you see our content and stuff, you're gonna see all this because like it comes off like some people might think we're talking past you, but like I feel like being that I'm making this public and like we're being watched right now is like we got to keep illustrating and reiterating this, and it just feels very gaslighting this. But to continue with our conversation, right? Make sure you go to race, fill out your race, right? That is very important. Fill out your race.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that in rules. My apologies.
No, you good. It wasn't there before because we had to hide race because like what happens is like as you see behind each roles, it's hit like there's like channels and stuff that you get access to. So we're like the way we're working on things is that there's channels for specific gender identities, there's channels for specific age groups, there's channels for different interests and hobbies, channels for different races, sexualities, and relationship identities and states. Like we ain't fully operational because we're a small community. Again, like we had to kick out over like 200 people or whatnot, right? But like if you go to interest and hobbies, you will see what I'm talking about. Go to interest and hobbies. We got book channels, game channels, wellness, fitness, mental health. Then we got a new channel ran by our on server comedian Afro, which is Road Nigga Hours. He talks about
our server comedian. Wow, you ain't giving that role.
He is a whole comedian though. You can't lie. He's on point though. To be so young, he's on point, and I'll be like, wow, like. I'm about to be 30 soon, and like I swear there's a lot of people that's around my age who don't get it, and you all the way in high school or some shit, and you get it, and I'm like, wow, like I ain't gotta explain shit to you. And he like, yeah, this is that and the third, and then start joking and shit, and I'm like, holy shit, I'd be free if it wasn't for him joking all the time, bitch. I forget he was around the age he was. I don't think he was like our age for real, because. Like he's funny as hell, and I was like, holy, like that's how I know he's young. I was like, all right, yeah, like you a young boy, you over here joking and shit. Like we be over here seriously arguing and yelling, and he just come here and start joking. The bitch start laughing a little bit. Like you know what, like it. But it's good to have energy like that in the room. You know what I mean? Because it ain't
It
all like
is, ain't it?
it ain't all broody and Batman-y. You know, it's like DC is like he's like the Silver Age of DC films. Like he just come in with the comedy and shit, and like we all brooding and oh fuck these motherfuckers. They all on our page. Da, 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 da. And he like yeah, da, 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 da. He like yeah, you know I like white people and like bitch we just bust out laughing or you know he just say some funny like it's just some fun like he say some of the funniest shit and it's always the way he time it and like he pays attention to shit that we say and literally make a joke about that. So we just start laughing. But other than that, we got full access in here. I tell you that like the server is dry if you don't pick the right roles and whatnot. So like if like interests and hobbies, you know, you got the movie spot where we do movie night. We got books and data,
I'm like still
studies.
looking for the role section.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you. I'm
welcome.
really
I mean,
impressed with the server setup.
oh,
I'm
oh yeah, and
actually
another
looking
thing
to
is too. I think you figured it out by now, but like in our server, we promote a lot of black content creators. Like that is our bread and butter. Our bread and butter is resources and promoting black content creators. So I see you click the YouTube role, but in the Twitter role, and what that does is like it like whenever like there's a lot of black YouTube. Like there's a lot of black YouTube, Twitch streamers, TikTokers, Spotify podcasts, and Reddit, like black dominated spaces that we have posted in here. So like there's a lot of YouTubers from all over the continent, from all over the diaspora that get posted. Even like black people in Asia, a lot of a lot of videos from like different black and African people get posted in here from different perspectives. I tell you that like being that the way the algorithm is set up, I don't specify only a particular group of black people. So you do find some socially conservative people in here, but like I just want you like it's easy to tell who they are. But like there's a lot of progressive, people in here. But like there's a lot of libs in here too. So it ain't like there's some libs and some capitalists because like when you are dealing with black people in primarily black spaces, it's very nuanced. So like you do get some libs, some socially conservative motherfuckers, and some pure capitalists. But like there's a lot of Marxists, anarchists, and like far leftists that is also in there. It's just that the way the algorithm is set up, we can't just pick and choose which Negroes we want to promote and support because like the algorithm is literally getting all of us off of here and erasing all of us from like benefiting as content creators. So to avoid that, we kind of gotta do what we can to promote everyone. No, it's all good. But besides that, like there's like I explained it all to you already about the all right, cool. Like about the Twitch, the Twitter, the Instagram, and books and stuff. We got like art books, comedy books, comic books, things talking about like education, like general education and education table, fiction, manga, Timbuktu. Like all of those are filled with information on those topics. We got data and studies, convict resources, things about prison abolition and whatnot. Now I didn't make that space. Somebody asked me to make it for them because if you ask me to add anything for the server that is what you're particularly interested in, I don't mind making it a space for you. So like we got somebody asked me to make a space for convict resources, prison abolition and stuff. So all that is for that. Data and studies is like data studies, college studies, scientific data and whatnot, all that's in there. And then articles and news is like anything newsworthy, news related, it's in here. So there's a lot of articles, even if you want to just read articles that talk about blackness, things involving black people, black oppression, black excellence, like, or even just general politics and news, like go to articles and news. And like I could tell you, like if you scroll up in any of these channels, you can find it. If you want to find specific topics, go to the search bar. I tell you now, the search bar is your best friend. Like if you go to the search bar, type has and type a keyword and phrasing, you can pretty much find and type in has the link, has key.
So happy right now. That's
yeah,
full world information I've never seen before. I love it.
Pretty much, because that's what we do. That's what we do online. Like we don't spend our time on these other platforms. We spend most of our time in Discord, just adding information in here, doing like analysis and whatnot. Like Scorpio done got his whole thesis statement on political science and economic and social science in here, and nobody knows that. But like this is kind of what we do. But we do try to have a game night, even though like my Twitch channel don't get that much traffic. and whatnot, and there's not enough people with Nintendo Switches to get an actual game night going. But we do try to have game nights and stuff. Check out mental health. There's a lot of mental health stuff that you can post in here, and like feel free to post what you want. Like when I tell you this is an archive, this isn't just a space where we could post stuff at. The most I could tell you is post anything you find, anything that is relevant to you. Post that in here. Like post it in here. Post it in here if it like piques your interest, if it grabs your attention. You know what I mean? Like if it catches your interest and you want to like come back to it, if it look like something that you would make a new tab for or bookmark it on, like let us know and bring it in here, and we will post it in here for you. You know what I mean? Or we you can save it in here. Not we will post it, but you can post it in here just to save it as an archive, so you can always come back to it in case you ever lose it or anything happen with your phone. You know what I mean? Like to me, I treat this like my archive. Like I literally cleared out all my bookmarks and just threw everything in here, because now I'm like, oh my god, now there's a space I could just unload, because I literally because all I do is sit there. I sit there just to make a new tab, because I'll be researching stuff, so I just sit there. Ooh, what's this? New tab, bookmark, new tab. Then I make a new window, and then I make new tabs for that window. You know what I mean? That's why I sit there and do all day. That's how I do research, and there's so much stuff I be into. But just feel free to check out any of the channels and see what we got in here. There's a lot of stuff in here, whether it's articles and news, whether it's wellness and fitness. Like those channels are low-key kind of type empty, so because I would tell you wellness and fitness and convict resources isn't my passion projects right now. I do post stuff relevant to that, but I didn't really put a lot of stuff in there, you know what I mean? But when I'm done with all the other channels, then I'm gonna focus on that. I've been cleaning up the server, so I know all the people in here. So if I know specifically what people likes and interests are, then I would be able to better put information in there that's relevant to who they are and whatnot. Because me, I've been really prioritizing trying to find queer and trans, black queer, black trans thought, and stuff and gender identity stuff in here. But it's low-key kind of hard to find a lot of information on Ballroom that's openly documented on a scholarly level, or analysis of books and analysis that's written by actual black queer people and whatnot. But I keep looking. I find stuff by the Kabahi Collective and other people, a lot of other there's a lot of black queer women that gets heard and their views are seen. But as far as non-binary and men, I'm still looking. So yeah.
Well, I hope you find what you're looking for. It's gotta be really hard. Literally all been varying levels of literally erased.
Yeah, but you'll get around to it. As time goes by, you'll get familiar with the server and whatnot. And I would tell you the most important places in here is the announcements. The announcements is where everything important, we usually post all of that in here. So whenever there's something important going on, we add that into announcements. So check out announcements. That's where Scorpio's content pop up. Whenever I go streaming on Twitch, a lot of that pops up in here. And we have rules. This is Scorpio server, so if you want to be aware of what's going on and how he go about things, check out his rules, because this isn't my server, this is his server. So I just operate in here and put a lot of work in here, but this is his space. And then we have the user guide, which is a very outdated, archaic way of summarizing how the server works. Then we have general links, which is links to other servers, spaces, and places. So whenever somebody wants to cause we kind of move in a very African communalist anarchist way, where it's we don't look at it as if there should be one server. There shouldn't be one server or one space that's the space. So we understand that there should be a multitude of various spaces that is all interlinked and kind of all exchanging information between each other. So that's what general links is for. In case you want to invite somebody in here, they have to go through the interview process and whatnot. Once they go through the interview process, they get in here. But just feel free to send that link around to whoever you want. We're not afraid of people coming in here and whatnot. We don't care. You know what I mean? But like they just have to go through the interview too. But other than that, I just tell you to check out our content to be aware of who we are and what's going on, because we don't like constantly reiterating ourselves. It feels a little bit gaslighting, where we have to constantly explain and re-explain that we make videos, so we don't have to explain stuff, but nobody watched the videos, so we still have to re-explain. And it's like, God, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, because it's like, it's weird, because you'll think like, okay, let me make this video so people can refer to this video, or I can use this video, and then like we give them the video or tell them to check out the videos, and it's like, oh no, because you want to know another, it's to the point that I literally made a anthology series of black content creators, just so everyone be caught up to date on what exactly is going on. I'm about to send you it's something that I coined. It's called the Anti-Black Pipeline. The Anti-Black Pipeline is literally just the anthology series about like different black content creators and their conversations on race, and how it leads up to the conversation that me and Scorpio is having now. So like, rather people like to admit it or not, like we're kind of working off of their work, where it's kind of like the analysis I'm working with specifically is like a combination of like their analysis through videos and like books I'm reading, like CRT, critical whiteness studies. So like my analysis is coming from a culmination of discussions from what I see other black people have been having within this space, and discussions that like a lot of theorists have been having, a lot of critics been having in regards to how whiteness works. And by me putting a piece of things together, does a narrative come forward about what's wrong with this space, why things aren't truly progressing, how things turn out the way they are, why people are making certain actions and making certain decisions. But I hate to be the person to do it, but check this out. Hold on, I'm about to link this into you. It's called the Anti-Black Pipeline. If there's a playlist that I want you to watch in regards to like what we're doing and like the way we see things and whatnot, check that one out. It makes you aware of kind of everything. Like, now mind you, this isn't the complete anthology, because like there's still probably a lot of black leftists that intersect with the Eurocentric left or left tube, Brad tube, who got videos discussing race and like anti-blackness in these spaces, but they probably are not known yet by me. But like, I got people from like Intellectual Media, the Angie Speaks, the Dead Man, the Cat Black, T1J, Professor Flowers, Bitter Dose, like I got kind of like all of that in there. Then like over time it started like slowly, going into like Scorpios and me analysis, and our videos documenting different aspects of like race and anti-blackness and whatnot in these spaces and places. So outside of that, there's something else I'm missing.
Can I? Holy shit! I'm gonna do something. I want to see if I can copy that link to my notepad so I can save that and pin it on my desktop.
Oh yeah. I got more playlists. Like if you go to my channel is literally littered with playlists. Like I'm a playlist king, I'm a playlist queen. You know what I mean? Like I'm playlist excellence. Like if you go to my YouTube channel, I got like a playlist for black content creators. So if you just want to watch black content creators, I got a playlist for that. I got a playlist for like black queer people and a lot of black queer content I run into on social media. I don't really pick and choose which black people I want to elevate or which black people. It's just anything that's kind of relevant or on it, I'll put it in there. Not to say I agree with everybody I put in there. I ain't gotta agree with you to like support and big you up and kind of create these playlists to make it easy for people to get access to this content. So basically, like I got a playlist for like black queer people, and I call it the Black Queer Manifesto. There's the Central Worldview philosophy, which is like my black playlist for black content creators and black thought, black discussions. Then there's the Jersey Club, which I'm from Jersey, so I'm Jersey Club all day, right? And besides that, it's just my little rinky-dink videos and whatnot, and like my project, because I'm an entertainer. A lot of people don't know that. So like I got like a little entertainment series which is called the Organic Black Pill series. So in the Organic Black Pill series is just literally like my thoughts on, like, it's just my way of artistically expressing how I feel. I don't like making content like that of my own, and the reason why is because I understand how capitalism works, and creating content creates this market where you're in competition with black people. So it's like, why would I join this like competition, the competitive market, when I can just promote I can use my platform as a way of promoting and bigging up and creating intersectionality between a lot of black content creators. So now, like the other day, I don't like the big up, but it's on Twitter anyway. Like the other day, I was watching Intellectual Media, and Intellectual Media had been raided by like this well-known porn star. So like after she been raided, she had like 300 followers, and I follow Tatted Poodle on Twitch too. So like Intellectual Media was like, yeah, like she got this function that allows you to tell her who you think should be raided. So I told Intellectual Media to raid Tatted Poodle, and when she raided Tatted Poodle, they was having a good discussion and whatnot, and she was like, oh my, and Intellectual Media was like, oh my god, like I should follow you. You know what I mean? And to me, it makes me feel good because it's good to see black content creators. It's almost like Avengers, like Marvel Avengers. It's like I'm see two good people that I like watching individually come together, and it's like, oh yeah, I like your platform. Oh, I'm gonna follow you too. So to me, it's like it makes me feel good to see black content creators I watch and I like support and interact with each other. And to me, it only helps solidify us as a greater community, as a grander space, because like if people are familiar with Tatted Poodle is a part of the Black Gaming Girl Collective, and there's a whole it's a lot, yeah, that's how I feel, because to me it's like it's a lot going on, and I feel like by us intersecting with each other and us getting to know each other platforms, yeah, like it literally creates it creates the environment that is conductive to like true black people, black content, good black advocacy, and
excuse
just us
me?
having fun. Huh?
I really don't want to interrupt. My phone's gonna die on me, and I don't
you
want to
good.
drop
You
on
can
you.
head out.
You feel like I was ignoring you or just leaving randomly. I really like what you have to say, and I want to hear more from you.
No, you good. Like I tell you now that like I'm always here to talk to you if you want to. So if you want to talk to somebody or something, I'm always here. I'm probably gonna be streaming at any given time or watching content.
I'm
But
gonna catch when you
other
stream.
than that,
I did see your profile, and I'm trying to follow you on as many of those things as possible.
yeah, I got a lot of those things. I got a lot of those things up there. Like if you click on my name though, like all my profile stuff is there. So like if you click on my name,
followed you on Twitter and now on Twitch.
yeah, I see you on Twitter. That's all I see. I'm like, all right, that's who she is. So yeah, just it's okay. You could because I didn't give you the short form explanation. So like feel free to join. I'm gonna post this on my YouTube and Twitter. If you want me to send you a copy, I can send you through a copy through Google Drive, so you can have the video for your own purpose. Because I like doing documentation and stuff like that. I love documenting these experiences in this space specifically. So like I would I would send you a copy if you want to. Just DM me and be like, yeah, I like send me a copy, and I give me an email or whatever. We'll figure it out through Google Drive. If you got a Gmail or whatever, I could just send you it through Google Drive and whatnot, and then you'll have access to the video.
If I had to, just to make sure I'm understanding the conversation as best as possible. Mind if I try to summarize, see if I got it correct?
Yeah.
So some of the things you told me is, I believe one of the things was we're going a bit into detail about intersectionality and how criticisms within the issues that are conflicting with that also have to be intersectional, and we have to acknowledge and put race first, because that is one of the core things that capitalism uses as a tool to divide. And then also we were talking about how we support different parts of the community and how you focus in this community solely on lifting up people within your own community, and that bothers some people.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, kind of in a sense, like, like everything with us is a race first analysis, and like we prioritize our community and organize it with our own people. So like, it's like you said, like it creates a lot of like inconsistencies and arguments, because like nobody, it to some people it's kind of rude when you're sitting around in a white majority space and you're telling people, I ain't gotta teach you shit, and people are like, well, why are you here then? And it's like, bitch, don't worry about that. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, bitch, I'm here for my own reasons. And they're like, well, I'm just saying you're a black nationalist. You're a pro-black person. That means you don't like white people. And it's like, that's like real presumptive. It's not like I don't like y'all. It's just that like I understand that like there's always a difference between us and me and them.
I think my phone's gonna die on me. I just wanted to warn you.
Oh, you white too?
I just wanted to warn you, my phone's at 2%. It could crap out any moment.
Well, I'm gonna see you later then. I'm gonna see. We can talk about this another day. And because if you talk to me, I have no problem explaining all of this to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just don't want you to ever feel like you're obligated to teach me things. I can learn things, and I can
Yeah.
take in things through like sort of
I
absorbing an
mean,
environment.
yeah. I mean, it takes time, and then we got a lot of information here for you to understand and articulate it on your own. And, like, I don't mind working with you because I do the same thing for everybody else who's in our space. If you talk to me, I will explain it to you and work with you as best as possible because I'm learning it too. And to me, it helps me only like re-solidify these concepts because to me, you can never read something once and know it all.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to work over again. So to me, the more I work over it and go over these exercises, it helps me strengthen what I know about this. Unless I learn something new, then I have to restructure everything and just get back on
I
the wheel
love
again. You know what I mean?
learning new things.
But I'm gonna see you later, though. See you later, Talie.
See you later. I apologize for the rush. I just want to charge my phone before it dies.
No, you good, you good. Like save your phone.
Bye.
See you later. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
I always had hopes of being a big star. Then I look, as you get older, you aim a little lower. And I just say, well, yeah, you still might make an impression. Everybody wants to leave something behind them, some impression, some mark upon the world. Then you think you left a mark on the world if you just threw it. And a few people remember your name. Then you left a mark. You don't have to bend the whole world. I think it's better to just enjoy it. Pay your dues and enjoy it. If you shoot an arrow and it goes real high, hooray for you.